Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, here we will discuss the plot of movies that you will definitely enjoy. There won't be any loss for you to subscribe to this channel. In this episode, we will be talking about a film from the Monsterverse, namely Godzilla, King of the Monsters, released in 2019. This film is highly recommended for those of you who crave intense entertainment, adrenaline-pumping scenes, and a longing for heart-pounding action. In this film, you will be entertained by the spectacular actions of giant monsters, all striving to prove who deserves to be the strongest entity on Earth. Overall, this film is really exciting. Directed by Michael Dougherty, it stars Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown, Bradley Whitford, and several other big names. Let's dive straight into the plot of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. At the beginning of the film, we see glimpses of the events in San Francisco in 2014, where a battle between Godzilla and Mothra took place. We witness a father calling out to his missing son and a mother carrying her daughter. It turns out to be a flashback of Emma's past. She realizes that her family is no longer whole. She lost a son named Andrew due to the events in San Francisco in 2014. Later, Maddie, Emma's daughter, is seen secretly typing a reply to an email from her father. The two then proceed with their morning routine and have breakfast. Emma shows Maddie a device she has just finished creating. While they are having breakfast, suddenly the ground shakes and a terrifying sound is heard. It turns out Emma is a senior employee of Monarch. Emma and Maddie are currently at Monarch Outpost 61 located in Yunnan, China. Emma is researching something. Emma quickly enters the Monarch research facility. Inside, they discover a giant larva moving around. Shortly after, a colossal creature emerges from the larva, referred to as Titanus mosura or Mothra. They quickly deploy containment nets, but moments later, the security system fails. Mothra goes on a rampage, and the researchers are confused as their security system is suddenly compromised, as if someone intentionally damaged it. Mothra rampages and spews out the containment nets from its mouth. In a critical moment, Emma decides to approach Mothra with a device she has just completed. Emma then tinkers with her device. Meanwhile, Mothra is still rampaging, and Maddie, worried, bravely approaches Emma. As Mothra brings its face close to Emma, she presses a button on her device, and it works. The device successfully calms Mothra. Everyone is stunned by Mothra, which suddenly becomes peaceful. Maddie then tries to touch Mothra. Shortly afterward, there is an explosion in the area where the scientists are. Armed individuals appear and start shooting at the scientists. Emma and Maddie are visibly frightened. The scene then shifts to where Dr. Serizawa and Watanabe are facing a hearing where the government is pressuring Monarch to kill all the monsters. However, Dr. Serizawa insists that killing the monsters is not the right solution. He desires for humans to coexist with the Titans. Then, Vivian shows an important message from her phone. They both quickly leave the hearing room. Next, the scene transitions to Mark, Emma's husband and Maddie's father, who was seen at the beginning of the film. He is approached by a group led by Dr. Serizawa, who informs him that Emma and Madison have been captured by a group of terrorists. Mark appears devastated. Vivian is convinced that the terrorists are after the device recently created by Emma. Mark is shocked because he recognizes the device. Mark used to work for Monarch, and he and his wife developed the device. The device is called the Orca, and according to Mark, the Orca prototype had been destroyed. However, Emma recreated it. The Orca has the ability to emit a biosonar wave used by monsters for communication. Dr. Serizawa and Vivian ask for Mark's help to track the whereabouts of the Orca. They believe Emma and Madison are still alive with the Orca in their possession. They are afraid the Orca could be misused for malicious purposes. Mark agrees to help Monarch locate the Orca and his family on board a plane. Mark reveals that he and Emma have been separated since the events in San Francisco. Then, Serizawa's assistant named Sam Coleman suggests that they can combine bioacoustics from different Titans to create an Orca signal that can lure, repel, or even calm the monsters. The problem is, Serizawa and his team don't know which combination of Titan bioacoustics Emma used. Vivian asks for Mark's help to identify the combination to track the Orca wave. Mark is astonished by the abundance of monster findings Monarch currently has. Serizawa responds that there is a total of 17 monsters and it continues to grow. Most are in a state of hibernation, and some are being detained by Monarch. Mark questions why Monarch doesn't kill these monsters. Serizawa and Emma believe there is something good that can be gained from the existence of these monsters. They arrive at Castle Bravo, Monarch's flagship facility in Bermuda. Castle Bravo is a premier Monarch facility used to track and study Godzilla. Inside Monarch's headquarters, they identify Emma's kidnapper as a terrorist group led by a man named Alan Jonah. Alan Jonah is obsessed with restoring the natural order. While everyone assumes Jonah is near Mothra, now in a cocoon at a waterfall in China, Mark disagrees. According to him, Mothra is just bait. Jonah is definitely targeting an even larger creature. The scene then shifts to Monarch Outpost 32 located in Antarctica. There, Alan Jonah's convoy lands with Emma and Madison. Jonah and his troops slaughter all Monarch personnel present. Afterward, they invite Emma and Madison into the outpost. Inside, there is a giant creature frozen. They refer to it as Monster Zero. Jonah and his team attempt to awaken the monster by destroying the ice and using the Orca beneath it. Next, the scene shifts back to Castle Bravo. There, seismic vibrations occur as Godzilla approaches Castle Bravo. Panic ensues, and everyone prepares barricades and weapons. As the troops ready their weapons, Mark suggests lowering the weapons, fearing that Godzilla might act aggressively if confronted with arms. They follow his advice. After lowering their weapons, Godzilla seems to calm down. Mark then requests to open the protective doors. Once opened, Godzilla is seen in the distance, as if warning them about something. Subsequently, Godzilla departs. Mark asks for data on Godzilla's route and direction. Upon investigation, they discover that Godzilla is heading towards Antarctica. Everyone looks pale, and they board Monarch's command plane, the Argo, heading to Outpost 32 in Antarctica. Meanwhile, inside the outpost, Jonah's forces are aware of Monarch's arrival, and they accelerate their work. Upon reaching the outpost, Monarch forces immediately enter. Inside, they are met by Jonah's forces. Upon seeing his wife and daughter on a surveillance monitor, Mark rushes into the outpost. Mark finally reunites with Emma and their daughter, Maddie. As Maddie walks, her mother persuades her to come back. Strangely, Maddie decides not to follow her father, and even more oddly, she triggers a bomb detonator, melting the ice and closing the colossal three-headed monster beside her. As a result, Emma's actions successfully awaken the terrifying three-headed monster. Emma and Jonah's team escape, carrying the Orca with them. As the monster rises, Monarch forces scatter in chaos. On the helicopter, Emma blames the Orca for influencing the monster. The three-headed monster appears angry. Everyone runs, and the monster is seen spewing yellow lightning from its mouth, moving towards the helicopter carrying Serizawa and his colleagues. Emma's group then turns off the Orca and flees from the monster. When Serizawa's group is cornered, a blue light from a distance gets closer. It turns out to be Godzilla. A fierce battle ensues between Godzilla and the three-headed monster. Meanwhile, Serizawa's group is forced to exit the helicopter because, due to the monster battle, their helicopter is no longer controllable. As they run, Vivian is suddenly bitten by the three-headed monster. Serizawa looks saddened to see his colleague killed by the monster. Then, the Argo aircraft arrives, firing missiles at the three-headed monster, and it flies away, leaving the area. The next day, the Monarch team tracks the movements of Jonah's helicopter and Godzilla. They lead to Isla de Mara in Mexico. Then, there is a video call from somewhere, and it turns out to be from Emma. Emma admits her actions, stating that she did it consciously. According to Emma, the Titans are a solution to Earth's problems such as overpopulation, pollution, and human warfare, which she sees as infections on Earth. She believes that Earth releases antibodies in the form of the Titans, who then rise to restore balance. They are the Earth's natural defense, designed to protect the planet and maintain balance. According to Emma, wherever the Titans go, life will flourish, triggered by radiation. Only the Titans can repair the damage caused by humans. Emma believes that with human assistance, coexistence with the Titans is possible. Monarch is furious with Emma's actions. Then, Jonah's team disables the defense system of Monarch outpost on Isla de Mara, and Jonah instructs Emma to activate the Orca to awaken the monsters there. Emma hesitates because there are still many people who haven't been evacuated in the vicinity. Eventually, Emma decides to activate the Orca, and something significant happens on Isla de Mara. As everyone is being evacuated, from the top of the mountain right at the Monarch outpost, a giant bird-like creature suddenly appears. They call it Rodden, the fire demon. Rodden looks towards the Monarch Argo aircraft and immediately starts flying after it. Monarch tries to lure Rodden towards the helicopter containing Monster Zero, the three-headed monster from earlier. A chase ensues with Rodden, and Monarch loses all its flying squadrons. Only the Monarch Argo ship remains. They manage to lure Rodden to encounter Monster Zero, and an intense battle ensues there. Later, the sound of a helicopter carrying civilians about to board the Argo ship is heard. However, there is damage to the hangar door. Mark attempts to manually open it. Then, Admiral Stenz calls and informs that he has launched an oxygen bomb to destroy Monster Zero. The bomb is capable of annihilating all life within a 2-mile radius. With great effort, Mark manages to open the hatch and get the helicopter containing civilians on board. Subsequently, Monster Zero is seen chasing the Argo plane as it gets closer. Unexpectedly, Godzilla appears and immediately engages Monster Zero in a battle. A fight ensues, but the Argo has to leave the area quickly because Admiral Stenz's oxygen missile is getting closer. Then, the missile falls while Godzilla and Monster Zero are still fighting. After things calm down, Monster Zero emerges from the sea. It turns out he is not dead. On the radar, Godzilla appears weakened, and his biosonic waves disappear. The Monarch team assumes Godzilla is dead. Monster Zero returns to Isla de Mara, showing one of its heads severed, but it quickly regrows. Shortly after regrowing, Monster Zero is heard screaming, and all the monsters in the world respond to Monster Zero's roar. Many of them rise and cause chaos worldwide. Emma is shocked to see what Monster Zero is doing. Monster Zero can awaken monsters worldwide and create havoc simultaneously. The scene then shifts to the Yunnan rainforest in China, under the waterfall, where Mothra's cocoon is reacting. From inside the cocoon, a giant creature resembling a butterfly with immense wings slowly emerges. Inside the Monarch headquarters, they are puzzled as to why Monster Zero is immune to the oxygen bomb, and one of its heads can regrow, as if it defies the normal order of nature. A Monarch scientist named Shen discovers that Monster Zero is not part of the natural order but fell from the sky. Yes, indeed, Monster Zero is an alien, not a native inhabitant of Earth like the other Titans. Monster Zero is an alien with the intent to destroy Earth, not to balance the natural order. According to legend, Monster Zero is named King Ghidorah. At Castle Bravo, Mark explains to Admiral Stenz that the worldwide rampage of monsters is not a coincidence but a response to an alpha. With Godzilla absent, Ghidorah has become the new alpha. All the monsters obey Ghidorah. If Ghidorah is stopped, the other monsters will also cease their destructive behavior. Meanwhile, Emma begins to realize that Ghidorah's actions are not about balancing the natural order but about destroying the Earth. She plans to stop Ghidorah by broadcasting the Orca through loudspeakers in a stadium. Maddie overhears this from a distance, in another location. Mark tries to find his wife and daughter on his own. As he is about to board a helicopter, Mark sees a bright light in the sky and decides not to leave. It is Mothra attempting to communicate with Godzilla. After tracing his sonar waves, it turns out Godzilla is still alive but extremely weak. Mark then has the idea to bring a nuclear bomb to Godzilla's signal location and provide Godzilla with energy from the nuclear bomb to revive him. Serizawa and his team set off on a submarine to the location where Godzilla is, guided by Mothra. In the sea, Dr. Serizawa's submarine and his team get pulled into a strange current and enter a cavity within the Earth. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Maddie steals the Orca and takes it to a specific location. Back on the submarine, Dr. Serizawa realizes that they have entered an underground tunnel system and are now 600 miles away from their initial location. So, Godzilla can move quickly by utilizing the Earth's hollow system. The submarine is eventually restarted when Serizawa checks the surroundings using a drone. They are surprised by the sight of statues from an ancient human civilization, a civilization they believe is much older than the Egyptian civilization. Maddie, it turns out, takes the Orca to a baseball field in Boston, USA, entering the control room and connecting the Orca to the audio system there. Meanwhile, on the submarine, Dr. Serizawa and his team discover Godzilla lying in a location, absorbing radiation to recover. The bad news is that the torpedo system of the submarine is damaged due to the earlier collision, and the nuclear bomb has to be manually placed. However, at Godzilla's resting place, there is an extremely strong and hot nuclear radiation that could burn humans. Dr. Serizawa decides to carry the nuclear bomb himself to Godzilla's location. The scene shifts to Maddie. When Maddie connects the Orca to the audio system at the baseball field in Boston, USA, the behavior of the Titans that were causing havoc worldwide changes to a more docile state. Emma, realizing Maddie's actions, tries to reach Maddie as her actions are extremely dangerous. Inside the submarine, Dr. Serizawa receives a final farewell from his team as they know that this mission is a suicide mission. Serizawa is willing to risk his life to help Godzilla because Godzilla also fights and risks his life for humanity. Godzilla is the only hope for humanity at the moment. Dr. Serizawa sets off, carrying the nuclear bomb to Godzilla's location, and the large submarine quickly turns away, leaving the place, leaving Serizawa and Godzilla behind. Serizawa carries the nuclear bomb with his own hands, approaching the helpless Godzilla. After Serizawa sets the manual timer on the bomb, Godzilla is seen looking at Serizawa. Serizawa then approaches Godzilla and touches him for the first and last time in his life, and the bomb explodes, causing a tremendously powerful shockwave. The submarine that Mark is on gets pushed to the surface. Mark and his companions then go up to the surface of the submarine to check what happened. A moment later, a whirlpool appears near them, and Godzilla emerges, now larger than before, exhaling nuclear breath into the sky. Godzilla observes Mark's group on the submarine, making Mark believe that Godzilla is humanity's hope. Mark then orders the entire Monarch team to follow Godzilla and assist him in the fight against Ghidorah with all their abilities. This time, humanity is not just spectators but will help Godzilla defeat Ghidorah, who is currently heading towards Boston, the location where Maddie activated the Orca. In hiding, Emma decides to leave Jonah's team to find her daughter. At the location, Maddie sees the clouds darkening, and a storm is approaching. However, it's not an ordinary storm but Ghidorah, curious about the Orca waves emitted by Maddie. Ghidorah destroys the area, and as he sets his sights on Maddie, who is fleeing with the Orca, he is suddenly hit by Godzilla's atomic breath from a distance. The blue-hued nuclear breath is incredibly legendary. From afar, the Godzilla squad is seen, accompanied by numerous Monarch aircraft and ships. They all engage in the battle to help Godzilla. Godzilla, angered by Ghidorah's actions, cannot come directly but imparts a lesson to Ghidorah. Mark observes that Godzilla's radiation levels are skyrocketing, and in the next 12 minutes, Godzilla's body will emit strong radiation like an atomic bomb in all directions, posing a severe threat to humans nearby. Mark decides to go down to search for Maddie amid the battle between the two strongest monsters on Earth. Mark finds the damaged Orca but doesn't know where Maddie is during the ongoing battle. From above, Mothra appears to assist Godzilla against Ghidorah, but its actions are immediately thwarted by Rodan. Now, there are 4 monsters battling it out, creating a chaotic scene. Mark is picked up by his wife, Emma, who is driving a car, searching for their daughter. The fierce battle continues outside. Godzilla appears to be getting emotional, and his radiation levels are extremely high. Mothra, cornered and with its wings burning, finally manages to disable Rodan with its deadly sting. Mark and Emma finally find Maddie, who is powerless and hiding in her house. They witness Godzilla being lifted into space by Ghidorah and then released at high speed. Godzilla falls and appears helpless. Mothra then attempts to attack Ghidorah with its remaining strength but is immediately countered with Ghidorah's atomic breath. Mothra dies, and its remnants enter a small creature. However, Godzilla still looks weak. Mark and Emma then repair the damaged Orca, successfully using it to lure Ghidorah away from Godzilla, giving Godzilla the time to rise again. As Mark and Maddie board a helicopter to save themselves, Emma decides to take the Orca using a car, enticing Ghidorah to chase her. Mark and Maddie watch Emma risking her life to aid Godzilla from above. Ghidorah pursues Emma, and her car flips, getting hit by Ghidorah's atomic breath. Emma lies on the road as Ghidorah approaches. Suddenly, Godzilla arrives with extremely high radiation levels, burning and melting everything around. From inside Godzilla's body, it emits an incredibly powerful nuclear radiation that destroys Ghidorah from a distance. A massive explosion is seen from within Godzilla's body. Then, Godzilla is seen rising again from the ruins and exhaling atomic breath upwards. Unexpectedly, Titans emerge around Godzilla, surrounding him. Behemoth, Scylla, Methuselah, and Rodan are seen, apparently still alive, bowing before their king, Godzilla. Long live the king! Subsequently, a news broadcast appears. Finally, Monarch's research is announced to the public, and the impact of the Titans' emergence results in the Earth becoming green again. Coral reefs in the oceans recover, rainforests emerge in the Sahara, ecosystems improve, and polar ice melts more slowly thanks to the Titans. Even Titan dung can be a viable energy source, and there are many other positive impacts from the Titans' emergence. It turns out there are positive consequences behind the appearance of the Titans led by Godzilla. In this scene, seismic disturbances are observed, and it is reported that many Titans are heading towards Skull Island. In the ending scene, Jonah and his team are still on Isla de Mara, buying fragments of Ghidorah's severed head cut during the earlier battle with Godzilla in the ocean. And thus concludes the storyline of Godzilla, King of the Monsters in the MonsterVerse series. Feel free to share your critiques and suggestions in the comments section. See you in our next content.